So, today we're going to talk about a couple of things. But as you all know, Amazon came out with a new program called Kindle Vella where you can read serialized fiction. So, to start, I am going to make a Kindle Vella recommendation. Okay. Now, this is not my book. This is a book by Charlotte Mallory called The Silver Ones. Now, when I first started reading this book, it was like the day of the release, and I read the first episode, and I thought, oh, this is really good. But I was in the process of trying to scan several stories to see which ones I wanted to follow. And I was clicking follow on most of these, but later when I wanted to go back and read this one, I couldn't find it. So I don't know if y'all knew this, but Amazon has this neat little feature where you can click digital like orders, and it'll show you like all the things that you've clicked on. So I was able to find it that way. So just a quick overview, because this is serialized fiction, the book is not complete and I haven't read the entire story. I'm up to episode 5 right now. And I'm really enjoying the story. It's about like these little villages, and what I get from the story, it seems like this is post current, era where there was like a purge of the human race. And so you've got these hunters that live down in the south that are maintaining the human population, and then you've got all these magical beings, witches and wolves that live up further with natives living up north, or something like that. At least that's what it makes it sound like. And we've got this main character. They call her Rem, or I think her real name's Remara. Well, apparently in these little villages that are ruled by the witches, some of the women's hair turned silver, and I think they said there was something like 13 silvers. But these silvers are getting kidnapped by the wolves. And the reason why they're getting kidnapped by these wolves is because supposedly the silver in their hair allows them to, it's, believed that the silver in their hair will cause them to produce offspring that are immune to silver, werewolf silver. Yeah. And among other powers. So Ramera is kidnapped. The mom is like getting ready to, we're going to run. She's telling her, we're going to run. I'm not going to let them take you. Your dad's getting things ready so that we can go, and we're going to meet the hunters halfway. And then all of a sudden, these wolves come and get her. And right now she's stuck with a family of wolves that are not trustworthy. They're actually really mean. And, or at least one of them is. And so they take her. They're trying to get the alpha to marry her. She has to convince the alpha to marry her, or, they're going to harm her family. So I'll save you all of the other details because I don't want to ruin the story. It is a really good story, like I said, and it is a serialized fiction, so I have not finished reading the story. But, this is one that I've started reading, and so far I really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend it. The link to the story will be below. So the story I'm going to review today is Dragon Blood by Lindsay Brooker, and it's one of the free books that you can get on Amazon. I was in between my credits and I thought, I need something to read, and this is one of those that were included with my subscription. And I like dragons and fairies and all that stuff, so I went on ahead and I clicked it, and it has not disappointed. It starts off, this book right here is 3 books in one, and it's called Dragon Blood Omnibus. And with this book right here, you're in the first book you meet Sadell. Sadell is this sorceress that's over 300 years old that has been trapped in a mountain when it was collapsed during what they call a purge. Purge is pretty common in these books nowadays. Anyways, so what it was is the humans, or the non-magical people, were scared of the sorcerers, so they blew up a mountain on them and pretty much wiped out the magical creatures. Pretty much wiped out all the wizards and sorcerers, doing away with magic. And the story goes that these people, these wizards and sorceresses, have magic because their ancestors had bred with dragons. And so even I was kind of like, well, what do you mean they bred with dragons? That's kind of weird. But the way they describe it is that dragons could turn into humans and mate with the humans, and that bloodline would be passed on, passing on magical powers to the humans, making them wizards and sorcerers. So Anyway, so you meet Sidel in the first book, and you meet Zerkander. And you meet Zerkander, who's this pilot that's like way up there in charge of everybody, but he tends to tick off his superiors. So they throw him in a prison. They're like not in prison, but like they put him in charge of the prison, which is torture for him because he's a pilot. He wants to fly, and they're pretty much grounding him. Well, he goes here and he meets Sidel. Bear in mind, Sidel has just emerged from this mountain for the first time over 300 years. And she's talking to a sword. It's called a soul blade that's still trapped in the mountain. So she's trying to stay in this prison because they're like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. And she's like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. You know, I do belong here. And so she's trying to convince them to keep her there so that she can continue looking for her sword. Well, again, in an attempt not to ruin the entire story, they go on these, her and Zerkander get really close, and they kind of form like this little relationship, and she helps him save the prison because it's getting attacked by an opposing force that also has a sorcerer. But this sorcerer is kind of like watered down, I guess you could say, because it's been 300 years, and so over years, the bloodlines that have mated with these dragons, these bloodlines have gotten more and more diluted over the years, so their power has reduced. So this guy, the sorcerer, is like a really powerful wizard for his time, but Sidel is 300 years old, so she's even more powerful because her bloodline's more concentrated. Anyways, so she's able to, you know, kind of thwart his attempts to take over this mine. It's a prison, but it's a mine, and they're mining for power source, a crystal that's a power source that they use to power like their flying machines. So it's really, it gets kind of exciting too, because there's one part where she's like having to battle this magical owl that's this big old creature. I love owls, but after hearing that description, I'm like, I would not want to mess with that owl. Anyways, it's a great story. If you have an Audible subscription, it is included in our subscriptions. I will link the books below. Anyway, so I will be starting a new book soon to read, because, you know, I got to have one to read, one to listen to. And now that Kindle Vela's out, I will be recommending another story next week. So, all right, that's all I have for you guys today. Please, if you have any comments or questions, comment below. And as always, please like and subscribe and ring the bell for more great content. Bye, guys. See you next time.